Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, transparenttrading.solutions.com. Hope everybody had a great trading week. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Lots of chop this week, ongoing situation with the banks. That obviously is the main theme this week. But at the end of the day, averages back and forth, back and forth. Let's start off, and there is some kind of bifurcation between, as I wrote about it last week. I talked to you guys about it Tuesday. This is, by the way, this is Friday, the 17th March. So we did get, we just chopped around, had a rally yesterday, but at the end of the day, S&P 4,000, 3850. We're right smack in the middle. Probably nothing changing until after the Fed meeting Wednesday. The rampant speculation of what they're going to do. Is it 25? Is it no rate hike? Is it 50? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Markets are just all over the place, very confused. Nothing really changing. Again, there's under the hood, there's a bunch of dispersion with, semis really doing well, technology still doing well. In fact, the NASDAQ 100, in fact, is right up against close to the February highs. So that's been clearly still the best performer and so forth. So whether that continues, and again, it's almost like taking over the safety, the safe haven type of status, because of the mega caps have no exposure to banks and have a huge pile of cash on their balance sheets and so forth. So very interesting, again, kind of dual situation. On one hand, you've got these regional banks just getting killed, and then on the other hand, you got semiconductors, mega cap stocks doing really, really well. So again, very, very interesting. At the end of the day, here at TTS, we've been kind of mainly focused on, as you know, trading the averages has been somewhat challenged this week because of the choppiness and the volatility. We've been, just to kind of outline some of the positions, we were long gold, as I talk about this all the time. So we were long gold with the NEM calls. We're long silver calls. We are also long, still hanging in with nat gas, barely, but we're still hanging in there with oil. And we did add oil to the mix this week. We bought some calls on UCO, which is the leveraged ETF. Looks like oil again, too early to say, but seems to be holding around the $65, $66 a barrel level. And part of that may have to do with, that's that around here is where supposedly, presumably you've got the government buying oil to shore up the depleted SPR. So we'll see if that holds. And obviously it is almost oil is tracking very closely the S&P and economic activity. So I think if we get a rally next week in the S&P, we should have oil back above 70, 75. Our target is about 80 on that position. So we are long oil right now via the UCO, because we don't really have any quality levels on the futures. We will be entering the futures markets probably when we get some levels forming. Okay. All right. So, just real quick, nothing, the Dow, very interestingly, bunched up here, big old range between 31,683, 32,569, very clearly defined. Just again, back and forth, not a lot going on there. And then the big selling has come from the Russell, which is obviously exposed to a lot of the bank situation, regional banks. But interestingly, it also has a huge level, big range, 1824, keeps holding around the 1729 area, which is really interesting. So we'll see if that, clearly next week with some kind of resolution to the bank crisis. I think what's probably what's really going to resolve this whole thing is we get one more bank. I think there's still one more shoe to drop, probably one more bank to fail, and then maybe that'll be the end of that. Maybe get a washout. Watching that KRE trading into the low 40s, making a new low, I think will be the final bottom. We're also trying to get long JPM. Still haven't filled on that, down in the low 120s. So we're still kind of working on that. And then probably looking to short some semis next week. Particular look at NVIDIA just had a monster rally. So did, Advanced Micro and so forth. So those are some areas we're looking at there. Bond market, just huge moves in the bond market, but overall the 10-year still holding below the 116. It's actually been bouncing off that. It keeps banging up against that 116, 150. Let's call it 116. You can see that clearly on your charts. And then comes falling down. It's swinging about 2 points, which is pretty good on the 10-year, just back and forth. And again, let's see what happens. Clearly now the 116 is established as a huge resistance level in the 10-year. Let's see if next week the Fed, either we're going to drop all the way right back down to 110 and a half, 110.24, which is where the thing took off from. Or we break out, which actually probably not a good thing. So bonds rallying are not good right now because that's actually panic and probably signaling more weakness in the economy. So it's going to be interesting to do that. Dollar also interesting. We had a big dollar rally. Now it's falling off, and I think again, as I mentioned to you guys on Tuesday, that's partly because of the interest rates in the bond market. So higher interest rates probably are going to be positive for the dollar. Lower interest rates are going to be negative for the dollar. Dollar sitting at 103.70, right at the level where it took off from. So it's going to be interesting. Similar to the 10-year, I think, if you match the 103.70, 103.42 accumulation demand zone on the dollar index, the DXY, that almost coincides with the 116 on the 10-year. And I think if the 10-year breaks above that, then I think you have the dollar falling through that level there. And on the currencies, we're trying to get long pound and Canada. We're trying to short Canada, and still looking at the peso. I think I mentioned that the other day. The Mexican peso seems to be in a very big range also, which is really interesting. 52.71 down to 51.24, huge range. So a lot of range trading this week. We'll see if we can break above 52. There's a gap, and then the bigger levels at 50.80 on the peso. So those are levels to look at. Gold. Massive rally. Gold and silver, again, we did participate in some sense. There were very few pullbacks to get long futures. We had a massive rally. It's coming up around that 2000 mark, which may be an interesting shorting level in gold. We are long NEM from 43. It's traded at 48 today. We have a nice profit in that. We may think about we're looking at about 50 on that. So if we get gold up around that 2000, that could actually, it's gotten pretty extended. So we'll have to see what happens there. That's going to be an interesting situation. Silver similarly finally caught. Silver is kind of hanging in there. And then today it also caught a nice bid, and it's also approaching again this 23 level up here, which could be some interesting shorting opportunities in silver. So the metals really had a really nice move this week. Those are really the big movers. The bonds, just everything else kind of just whipping around like crazy. So maybe all of this unwinds next week. Maybe everything reverses. after the Fed meeting, if they pivot or they, at least pause or whatever, or talk about it. I think they're going to do 25 and then probably stop and look around. But that's going to be interesting to see. So it's going to be a huge Wednesday is going to be just tremendous volatility coming into the Fed meeting, and also the bank still kind of driving a lot of the movement. Other than that, really everybody, oil, again, as I mentioned, did crack actually cracked last Tuesday. I was with you guys finally, and it looks like we're holding at 65 and trying to, bounce around 65, 69, $3 range here. It's going to be interesting if they can hold on to 65. If not, then we're probably going out in the low 60s. 62 is the next level I got in oil. Nat gas just, meandering here. In fact, you can make a case that nat gas is probably in a range between 235 and 265, 270. It did make a new low, recovered. Again, nothing really going on with nat gas until the weather changes or there's some kind of disruption in the supply dynamic. I don't, maybe. And again, as nat gas can be very volatile and quirky, very fickle. Who knows what's going to bring about anything, any change on oil. And then nothing really going on in the grain markets. Corn actually did move nicely from 610, but nothing really. We got some levels up top here, 670 on corn. Wheat really also attempted a rally here. It's rallied about 40 cents. See if it breaks above 720 on wheat. Very choppy trading though in wheat. And then soy meal is something I've been talking about. That's a really nice market, possibly around the 460 area in the soy meal. So all in all, everybody, not a lot to talk about. Honestly, I don't have a half an hour worth of talking. I mean, we can sit here and discuss all kind of stuff, but as I'm pretty succinct in what I want to do, just because we're traders. All the talking in the world doesn't do anything. We look for opportunities, and when there are no opportunities, we kind of keep our powder dry. So not a lot going on other than that. I think next week is going to be obviously with the Fed, with again what happens over the weekend with any kind of banks that could gap some markets over the weekend. So people still kind of on pins and needles about these banks, and I think that really sums it up. But the charts are kind of reflecting all the confusion and everything going on, with the NASDAQ pretty strong and everything else just chopping around and bonds just swinging back and forth. That is again, a reflection of all the uncertainty, all the cross currents going on, the fact that we can't get moving in kind of any meaningful way up or down in the averages is also, again, in response to everything going on. So I think we're going to leave it there. So again, everybody, I'm going to probably have another class coming up in a week and a half. I'll announce that next week. If you guys want to spend some time with me, some one-on-one mentoring, ping me at support@transparenttrading-solutions.com. We had actually overall TTS, we did have a decent week. Didn't make a ton of money, but who is in these markets? Who's not getting chopped up all over the place? Somebody tells you they're making a lot of money right now. I don't know. Unless you caught, gold or something at the lows, maybe some people did. I don't know, but it's been a rather challenging, or unless you were in some semi stocks, you actually did pretty well if you bought some semi stocks in the last couple of weeks. So I guess those folks are doing okay, but trying to trade in the futures markets has been rather challenging. So, but that doesn't mean opportunities. I think with gold and the metals really getting stretched, I think there's going to be some opportunities there. And possibly in the currencies if we get the dollar moving. But other than that, it's, just kind of picking your spots right now. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. I will see you on Tuesday. If you have anything, again, ping me, either private message me on Twitter. You guys all have my Twitter, I think. It's posted below, or support at Transparent Trading Solutions. If not, have a great weekend. And next week's going to be just gangbusters, I believe. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.